focus on me, ayy. All chained up, he on lockdown. He find God now. On my way up. The highs with the lows.
What's going on, family? Welcome to Cam's Corner. Today I'm joined by my lovely wife for another tie down and wind down. What's up, babe? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
That's good. What we got to drink over today?
My favorite.
Your favorite?
They're gonna be like, dang, what is Cameron like? Because you keep making all my favorites. Last week we had a red blend, and you said that I like red blends.
Happy wife, happy life.
Now we have Moscow Mule.
Moscow Mule. So this is another. We both like this though.
Yeah, we do.
But it's definitely a go-to for Erin.
Yeah,
she will ask for it.
Yes.
Before a lot of other things.
I know.
She loves it. So
and we got these cups from Crate and Barrel. Cheers.
Crate and Barrels.
In case anyone's interested.
Yeah, I guess I can put it down. Yeah, link it.
You're officially an influencer, linking things.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Down below.
She'll have to remind me to do that. But these are like some really cool cups. They keep the
why can't you on the ice?
Keep the beverage cold.
I know they're so cute, and they come in a rose gold color too.
Yeah. So what's in here is some vodka, some lime, and ginger beer, and of course crushed ice.
That's the key to a good mule. Is
a very good ginger beer.
Really good ginger beer.
Yeah, for sure. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Even though we did that already.
I know. That's good.
What are we talking about today?
You tell me.
Is thinking we have enough time a mistake?
Oh.
I got that from my favorite basketball player, Kobe Bryant. It's so sad that he's gone, but
I know.
Yeah, is thinking we have enough time a mistake?
I think so. For the most part, I think it is.
Why do you think so?
Because you just don't know.
You never know what's going to happen.
You just never know. I think that it forces you to live right now in the present. When you think about like the fact that time is borrowed and that we aren't guaranteed, our next moment.
Yeah.
Even a moment.
A moment.
Yeah, we don't know.
The next seconds.
Right. So I think that it's good to have that type of mindset, although I also think it's good to be smart, because there are some people who, like on the flip side of that, I think that there are some people who just kind of like rush through life and like kind of just have this YOLO mindset.
A little too free sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like you're not planning for, the could haves in the future, So
your generation to come after too.
Right. So I think that I don't think that planning for the future is mutually exclusive from living in the present. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the coffin.
The nail on the head.
Nail on the head.
Oh, babe! Oh
I
my
said the
gosh.
coffin, nail on the head. Woo! See, I had it's crazy. No, the nail on the head with that. I definitely think you hit the nail on the head. I think for me, I think that realization kind of hit me when my mom got sick, and it was just kind of like, nah, you need to get your stuff together now, because it's kind of it's things like that we're unprepared for. It doesn't have to necessarily be on you or like you going through something yourself physically, but those around you, your loved ones, anything. It can be losing a job. Like sometimes being too free, or you thinking you have enough time, or you think because I'm young that I'm just gonna do whatever. And I think it was at that moment where I was like, and I feel like we were somewhat disciplined already, but there's still times, growing up, you have to learn lessons. You got to come to realizations. And it's funny, your dad sent that quote today.
Yeah. My dad sends a quote every morning. And it's really good because sometimes it stirs up some conversation.
Yeah, so it says, seeds of faith are always within us. Sometimes it takes a crisis to nourish and encourage their growth. So that was crazy that that was sent today.
Yeah.
In general, because for this very moment and topic, it's sometimes you need a nudge, and sometimes that nudge comes from something you're not expecting.
Right.
So again, I do think it's a mistake to think you have enough time or you're always going to have time, which isn't necessarily true.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not.
Yeah, it's definitely borrowed.
So is it then a bad thing to like, I guess this is kind of playing off of what I said of, you know, living in the moment is not mutually exclusive from planning for the future. So like, how much of that plays into like planning ahead and like setting goals for like your, maybe 5-year goals
Right.
or I don't know. I guess what's the mindset behind it being a mistake or being smart?
Being smart. Yeah. So I think that, you know, if you're being smart, it's not like you're always planning. It's just you did something smart to take care of the future where you can live in the present and sometimes have fun.
Right.
You don't have to go every day where it's like, oh man, I have to plan tomorrow.
Right.
Where, sometimes you wake up and you're like, you know what, let's go do this, which we do all the time.
Yeah.
Being young and married is
great.
It's great because whether you're driving somewhere, we're like, oh,
Let's
that looks nice. Let's stop here.
Yeah.
Just something as simple as that. And, like you said, is it smart or is it a mistake? And I think we choose smart over mistake. It's not like we're every day like, oh, babe, did you update your 5-year plan? Did you update your 10-year plan? No, it doesn't work like that. But it's more so being conscious of what can come, things that can happen, parents getting older, things like that. So kind of putting into plan and staying conscious for those things that surround your life.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, a big goal of ours is to create a legacy for our
entire family
and our children's children and generations to come. And I mean, that's a part of our future, but it doesn't mean that every day we go in and we're just like so basically like just bound to this plan. Because even like when I think about our business of like Aaron on Demand and Black and Gold, and which is gonna be
Black
back
and Gold.
soon.
Someone asked.
We get a lot of people asking about it.
It's we just got married. We're coming up on a year, but we just got married. We've been handling a lot of other business. Black and Gold is going to resurface very soon.
Yeah.
We promise.
Yeah.
We promise.
Right. But when I think about like it's for our future, but it's like something that we're doing now and we've accepted it in our journey for right now. And I think, when you're kind of going through life, it's just about like taking each moment at a time and really like absorbing it. Even if it has like a greater purpose in our lives, it's still like, but right now, this is like what I'm focused on about that one thing. So if we're doing this right now, it's like maybe in the future, like we want to turn this into something else or have some other plans, but it's like right now, like we're focused on this one conversation
at this very moment.
And so I think that the balance is like it's okay to have goals and to set intentions that you want to have or achieve, but also like with that, like, okay, in this moment, what am I doing?
What am I doing? Yeah. Why am I doing it? Sometimes it's kind of understanding why you're doing something because, running business, we found that something can pop out where it's like, oh, wait, we need to do this. Mm-hmm. And with that, it's kind of like, all right, let's figure it out so we understand why this door opened or why this opportunity presented itself. And at that moment, you can add to what you had no idea was a part of your future.
Right.
So I think it's different ways of understanding how to use your time, not to waste your time.
Yeah.
And having fun isn't wasting your time. That's also time that's well spent. But I think it's more so, not using it to where, oh, well, my life is going to be essentially, I guess, kind of disrupted tomorrow.
Yeah. I have an example of something that I hear a lot of people saying, and I don't feel like I hear it as much now, that like entrepreneurship and having your own thing and creating multiple streams of income and building wealth is kind of like this. It's on the up and up. But I do hear a lot of people say, like, I'm in my 20s, like, I'm just gonna, like, live, and I just am gonna be free, basically. And I'll basically settle down later on, like, in my 30s.
Right.
And, you know, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Oh, you know how I feel about that. I think you know.
I mean, I was the exact opposite. Like, I feel
that's
like
what I'm saying. We're the exact
opposite.
I mean,
like, we did the reverse of, like, making our 20s that time that we sacrificed so that...
I mean, we're still in our 20s, but our early 20s.
We are. We're still young, y'all.
Yeah, we're still young. Definitely still
Not to say the 30s is old, but we're still in our 20s. But it's like we wanted to sacrifice in that period and really, like, build. Like, while we had the energy, while we had little to no responsibilities.
Right.
And I think that that's, like, the perfect way to, like, kind of explain the mindset of, like, I have the bigger picture in mind, and right now this is what I have control over, so I'm gonna do my best possible right now, where I am, and hope that it gets me to where I want to be. And I just think that's a big mistake. A lot of, like, 20-somethings or even adults who are older now and
saying
they
did.
I wish in my 20s I took the time to,
that's
really get going.
I feel like we heard that so much growing up.
Yeah.
I think we would be making a mistake if we don't listen to what those in front of us have said. Like, I've heard that on multiple occasions to where I wish I did this when I was 20, or I wish I knew that when I was 20. And I'm looking at it like, well, at least I don't have to make that mistake. We're going to make mistakes. We've made mistakes, and we're probably going to make more mistakes. But the ones that I hear, I try to avoid making, especially if there's someone close to me that say, hey, I tried this, or I did this, or I you know what I'm saying, I would a long time ago, and you know.
And it can even be things like, I mean, and these are obviously personal preferences, but you also hear a lot of people in our 20s and where we are in life now, like, wait for kids, because once they come, like, life is just gonna blah, 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 blah. And it's ultimately, like, your decision, because people were telling us that when we were single, like, well, get whatever you got to get out while you single.
While you can.
Yeah, while you can. And it's just like, I just think that wherever you are in life, you just got to make the most of.
Yeah, while it has some truth to where when you have kids, obviously things change. But I think that's why I don't like the whole impression on, like, how marriage is presented, or when you have kids, your life is just over. Right. Neither of those things are true. Like, they just aren't. I don't believe them to be true. And plus, what we talk about, what we haven't planned. Obviously, we don't know how birth would go. Like, those things will come, but at the forefront of it all, we have, we're mindful of things that we would like to continue, things that we want to do with our children, that we want to include them with.
Right.
So, I think having the mindset that, okay, we're gonna have kids, but we're still gonna have a great time.
Right.
How that great time look, we don't know yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it's not gonna be a bad time. We're not gonna tell another younger couple, like, hey, you better wait, because I don't think I kind of don't like that, because it's kind of like, well, in one side of your mouth, you're like, oh, y'all should have kids, and then on the other side, you're like, well, you should wait. So what should I do? You know what I mean?
Right.
So do you want me to have kids, or do you not want me to have kids? Are you stressed about it, or are you happy about it?
Right.
I'm like, why can't you just be happy about it? And I think that's like the positivity part of it all. It's kind of like, I get it. Things change, but it's ultimately up to how you think. That generates your outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is good to in that to that point, it's like we are being forward thinkers, because we're not ready to have kids yet.
No.
And we're enjoying the time that we have with just us, and, like, just where we are right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that can include, like, traveling, or buying a house if that's something that you want to do,
or going down the street to eat,
or or just dropping whatever and like going and do something that we want to do together. So I don't think it's a bad thing to live in the moment or to plan for the future. I just think it's like about our intention and how
around
we
it.
go about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think we avoid kind of what's said all of the time. It's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I don't, if it's, you making it sound bad, so obviously I don't want it to be like that.
Right.
So, which makes us always think like, well, they said this and that other.
Right.
If this is us, what would we do essentially? And I think we're always placed in that situation or have those thought patterns to where, well, okay, well, they said this happened. Well, how can we avoid this happening for us? And I think that is really just a mindset thing. We can't control things that come at us, but we can control how we choose to go about it. Like our initial plan, our initial thought toward it. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's good. But going back to time, I think we can talk about sacrifice later, but
I think we should talk about it now.
Now? Yeah. Oh, well, sacrifice. I think it's a part of, it can be a part of, why you should treat your time as valuable and not thinking that you just have all the time in the world. Yeah. So
I think the first thing is like people have to understand what's actually valuable to them. And
it
that's
looks
where
different for
a
everybody.
lot of that, it does. But that's also, to me, where a lot of people make mistakes. It's like, in the moment, like when I graduated from college and I was like, didn't have a job or, once my first job's contract ended, it's kind of like, I mean, oh, dang, I just lost my train of thought. Wait, what was I saying?
When you got out of college.
Yes. What is valuable to someone?
Yeah.
So like when I got out of college and like I accepted my first job, it was kind of like, well, I could move to New York or move to DC or stay in DC or move to LA or go to Atlanta and my salary be $50,000 or $60,000, but I'm spending $30,000 on rent, groceries, this, that, and the third.
Maybe more.
Or I could take probably more. Probably I'm spending $50,000.
LA and New York, you're living paycheck to paycheck.
On a corner in a closet.
Yeah.
But I say that to say, like, when I ended up taking the job that I ended up taking, it was $30,000. It didn't require the degree I had, but it was going to allow me to be able to explore a new realm of what I was interested in. And, like, I had to move back home with my parents. And it was a level of sacrifice. I couldn't, I decided not to go, traveling or buy a new car or, get an apartment just so that I didn't have to live at home because it was like on my value scale, to me, I was trying to stack and I was trying to, set my future self up for success. So it's like, it's just I don't know, it's interesting to me, and you've sacrificed a lot too, which you can share, but I think when you're at that age when value doesn't really like hold a lot of weight, it takes us, and I'll say like a lot of us value materialism, or we're trying to just move out, or we're trying to just get a
lot of different things.
Yeah. And so I think that, having a bigger picture in mind does help you make certain decisions when you are younger.
Right.
When you don't really have much to lose. And that's definitely situational.
I mean,
based on
it may,
life.
I guess it could depend on what you think, what it means to have something to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything is situational.
Everything is situational. In our particular situations, that's what we've come up with. I mean, for me specifically, like I didn't even go away to college, which I would have liked to. Graduating high school, I'm like, well, I'm not going into debt. I was already kind of like money. I already had this like plan. Like I want to get my own house. This is at 17. I'm like, I ended up taking a scholarship, so I didn't have to pay for school anyway. But I knew I wanted to get a house. I knew I wanted to get a new car. So I was taking those steps then. And like you said, success and setting yourself up for it, it changes daily, what success looks like. But when you start off taking steps with great intention, I feel as though it allows your next day to be like, well, okay, I can do this and I can make this better so that I can achieve those things. So I'm in college. I wanted to go away, but I didn't. Stayed home, literally stayed home in my room until I was 25 years old. In that time, I did buy a new car, paid it off. I bought a new car so that I can build my credit up. So I did that so I can get a house,
Right.
Which is this home
This
we're in now.
right.
And like I said, how it changes. The success for me changed in terms of this house that now I have for this lady who's making it a home. So, you know what I mean? It looked different when I was 17 than when we buy this, I was 26.
Yeah.
27.
26.
26. So,
27.
Yeah. I'm about to say, wait.
Dang.
So, even when I thought that I would have something or that the age that, I just knew. I mean, it was guaranteed.
Yeah.
I still didn't allow what most would maybe call a failure to take me backwards. I was like, well, okay, let me keep pushing forward. Obviously, it didn't work for whatever reason.
For this reason.
Yeah. But again, like even though I had fun, there is a lot of sacrifice, and I think that people should take. And it's not to say, oh yeah, you go do it. It's just like for our situation, it kind of aligned in that way. Yeah, so I feel as though sacrifice plays into what you view as you sacrificing plays into understanding why your time shouldn't be wasted, why you shouldn't waste your time. Because I haven't thought about, I can get it later since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I knew I ain't gonna hold you up. I want everything now. Do I have everything now? No, and it depends on what everything is to you, but like for everything that I do have, to me it's everything. So like success changes every day. Everything changes for me every day.
Yeah.
Because there can be something new. Like I said, when we have kids, going back to that, like that's something new, and to me that becomes my new everything.
Right.
So yeah, it all plays a role in, I guess, how you think, how you value your time, how you value your what success looks like for you, and so on.
Yeah, and I think just finding like the silver lining through your sacrifice really helps to make you not feel so like sacrifice doesn't have to feel so uncomfortable.
It's not really a sad thing or uncomfortable.
Exactly.
It's just like it's accepting who you are and where you are in that moment.
Right.
Which is in that moment you valuing the time that you're on now.
Well, I do think sacrifice can be decisions that are not necessarily your most favored upon. Like,
I wouldn't say like
you might be like, hey, no, I ain't trying to move back in with my parents. Or I'm not trying to stay here for X amount of time in order to put myself ahead in whatever way. And so, I think that what that looks like is different for everybody. But
first of all, everybody doesn't have the opportunity to even go back home.
That's just what we did.
Yeah.
So
I never even left until now. So so even like she left, I didn't. So that's like proof that it's just different for everybody. And it's not like, oh yeah, let me just go back home. You may actually not be able to go back home. You may not really. You may go back. You don't want to go back to maybe a bad situation, uncomfortable situation. Like those things happen. So it's not. Yeah. It's not like, oh, it's just.
That's the only option.
That's the only option.
That's the
sometimes
best sacrifice you can make. Sometimes the sacrifice is moving out of the situation.
So and it's understanding a full spectrum of everything. It can be this, it can be that. It's about what is happening in your life at that moment. And sometimes it seems frustrating, but sometimes it's like, well, I guess I would say I took on the mindset of I know that something is greater is coming. And while yes, I feel like everyone gets frustrated, obviously, but when you get to a point to where like I'm doing this for these reasons that I set ahead of time. And even then you don't know what it looks like.
Right. You don't know how it's gonna.
You don't know how it's gonna play out, but all you can do is trust where you are. And for us, trust God.
Yeah.
Trust the prayers that you make.
Yeah.
But I think it's just about. I feel like it's simple, but I feel like it can be complicated. Per the people in their situation, everyone is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. But yeah, I think that, I mean, it's just so rewarding when you make a decision and you see it all the way through.
A positive result.
Yeah, and it's like, man, I'm so glad that I did this, so I can now do this. And like, in the moment, it's just like,
because I used to be like,
me too.
I used to watch people like, first of all, I worked full time and went to school.
And mugs would just be going out.
People were traveling. I'm like, well,
everything.
I'm thinking like, well,
22, 23. I'm like, where are you getting this money from?
But the thing is, I'm like, I'm making like $45,000 in college. That's not normal. So
really good.
But I'm still thinking like, well, I can't go on vacation. Right. Yeah, I'm like, how are y'all doing this? So that's to me, I would say a jealous moment. That's we're like when you're young, you're kind of like, well, I want to do that too, but I still ain't.
Right.
I still go home and go to sleep at night. I mean, it's not harboring anything, but it's still that's an example of, I'm looking at you, them, y'all are having a blast.
Right.
And I'm sitting here going to work every day, busting my butt.
Right.
Just so I can, well, at least what I think I'm going to do. Just so I can, I guess, live better.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, y'all out here having a grand time, and I'm just trying to, I guess, replicate that in my own way, which I did not know how to do. So I feel like that was somewhat of a hump to get over.
Yeah.
But now, like, it's rewarding. Like, we travel a whole lot.
Yeah.
My first international trip was with you. So,
yeah. And we just have a lifestyle that allows us to be flexible.
Flexible, yeah.
When we do decide to have children, which we are not pregnant right now, for anyone who is wondering, that we have a level of flexibility that we have. And like, these are all things where I'm just like, I do not take for granted or have any regrets about the way that things have played out.
Yeah, no.
And it's not to say, and I think that what's good about us having these discussions is just kind of like digging a little bit deeper to let people see that it's not just what you see, like
it's not.
What you see is not everything that it seems to be. Like we've worked really, really hard to get to where we are, and we've sacrificed a lot.
And we're still working really, really hard.
And we have a lot of support, and ultimately, like you said, we just believe that we can do whatever we set our minds to. And that's the cool thing about how this all kind of works is that, like, the more you set your intention, live in the moment, give it your all to get the outcome that you're looking for in the future.
Right.
The more that you practice doing that and you see the outcome, like you see the fruits of your labor, it becomes a lot easier to
believe it.
Keep believing that you can get more and have more if that's what you want in life.
Yeah.
But that you can, like, your future can unfold in a way that is even better than you realize.
Which is like I said last time. Yeah. It's just like, even I didn't expect this. Right. I didn't expect to, like I said, I feel like the best example for me right now is like building a house. That wasn't even an option. That wasn't even a thought to go through my mind.
But what's crazy, babe,
let alone
what you ain't telling the people.
What?
That we went or we saw these condos that we really liked. And
we was about to close on a condo.
Well, yeah, we were gonna buy a condo before we bought this house. But even before that, we saw these condos online. The condos that we went to go see.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
The ones downtown?
No.
Which ones?
Well, we did do that too.
That was crazy.
So we're very visual people. Like, we went downtown and we saw these really, really,
they're elaborate.
Super luxurious apartments.
I think it's probably the most luxury I've ever seen in
an apartment.
Oh, those are apartments, yeah.
Yeah. But aside from that, like this particular condo, he might not remember, but I think either you sent it to me or I sent it to you, and they were the ones that we ended up
Oh, you're talking about before we went?
Yeah,
that was like
way before we went.
This was a year.
Yeah.
Were you still in DC?
No, I wasn't in DC, but when I showed it to you when we went to go see it, I just knew. I'm like, this is the one. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just crazy how stuff like that comes full circle. And it's like, you don't even know the spaces that you're going to be able to be in or the situation that your life is going to end up, you know.
Yeah. And I really think that's why you shouldn't waste your time. Or you shouldn't take your time for granted. You know, you shouldn't think that in 10 years, I'll be able to do this.
Yeah.
Well, what about these 10 years to get there? You know what I'm saying? What will they be used for? So, yeah. I think that was...
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's not about not making your dreams feel so far away.
Yeah.
Like, that's, to me, what...
I feel
anything, it's like, it doesn't have to be far away if you really live in the moment.
I feel like...
Yeah.
Professional athletes, right? We know that that's like winning the lottery, essentially. Mm-hmm. It's less than 1% of people who become professional athletes. But for us normal people, I feel as though why not
normal people?
I mean, we can't jump 20 feet in the air, you know what I mean? Nah, but I feel as though like, well, why can't we have this too at this age? Because everybody, come on, we can be honest. Like everybody's thinking like, well, I want to be a millionaire at 18 too. Like, dog went to college 1 year and now he worth $100 million. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of think like, well, it has to be attainable. Obviously, it's attainable. Mm-hmm. Why not? Why can't we have that? Yeah. So I think taking those steps and taking the steps that we have taken, has I would say the sacrifice and valuing the time on both of our ins and out together has been detrimental to where we are now,
pivotal.
What we have now. Pivotal.
Yeah.
Not detrimental.
Detrimental has more of a negative connotation.
Yeah, more of a negative.
But I mean, it still works.
It still works, But I mean, it's a pivotal point for our lives. You know? It's just, I
know. Well, here we are.
Here we are. Still working really hard. Still wanting more. Still putting everything in front of us. Still,
but enjoying where we are.
Yeah,
I think that's like the most.
I think if anything,
important thing.
I know we say it all the time, but even just sitting here having the conversation is just, you know what? Out of anything we said just now, we still enjoy where we are. Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest thing is you're not wasting your time, but when you're taking your time serious, you still can enjoy where you are. Yeah.
Because at one point, this was the dream we had. Yeah. So it's like you can't just bypass that because, in my opinion, there's always going to be something
It's going to be more. Again. And things, the next day, something else comes up and you can add that to your plan.
Yeah, because our exposure to things just broadens. Like the further along in life we get, like we are exposed to more.
What's that quote? Exposure leads to expansion from from I Am Athlete. Yeah.
That's so true.
It's really true though. Like being exposed is probably some of the best. It's probably one of the best things that can happen to someone. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely like the best thing that has happened to us. Yeah. Yes. And now we look for exposure.
Yeah, we do.
Like actively every day seeking what can we be exposed to today.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was really good. I love that conversation.
Me too.
I'm glad that we are always aligned in terms of, what's there, what's going to be there, and what will always be there. So. Yeah, if you ever think that, the time is not right, ask yourself, why isn't it right? But also, if you are doing your thing, share it with me. Leave in the comment, let us know what you are doing. Let us know maybe what was that turning moment for you when you realized that time was valuable. when you realize that your sacrifices are, the reason why you are where you are now. And if you haven't appreciated your sacrifices, or if you haven't appreciated the time that you've given yourself, then you probably should. I feel as though it'll open up something that you've been looking for, because it has for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you rock with me, then you rock with us. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you later.
Cause me drama. I used to stay on one. Now I change on them. The highs with the lowest lows. That's life these days. Bro chained up, he on lockdown. Phone call 3 ways.